Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This video is the third in my Perfect Trio Masterclass series. This week we are working on a demo painting and this one has a focus on mixing earth tones. If you have missed the other lessons in this masterclass, I will leave them linked down below and also in the cards above. In the first class we discussed the perfect colors for a Perfect Trio palette and what to look for to get the most out of your palette. In the second video, we went over basic exercises for color mixing. There, we discussed getting to know your paint colors, gradients, basic two-color mixes, primary color mixes, and we touched on more complex color mixing with all three colors, including skin tones. If you would like to know the materials that I have used in this series, including my brand-by-brand recommendations for a Perfect Trio palette, please check the description box down below for links. If you are enjoying this free masterclass and would like to support this channel, please check out my Patreon page linked in the description box down below. There you will find an in-depth, real-time tutorials for all of the demo paintings I have done in this series. Each tutorial includes the pencil sketch for you to use, the reference photos, color mixing guides, and my tips, tricks, and techniques for completing each painting. Now for this painting, we are working on this dumpling illustration, as I thought this would be a perfect example for demonstrating earth tone mixing as well as showcasing the need to have transparent and dynamic colors in your trio palette. With trio palettes, it's important to make sure that you can get the absolute most out of each of your colors. This is why a dynamic range is really important. Having an increased dynamic range means that the colors that we have chosen can be stretched even further, as we almost have a color shift within them. This color shift happens through the mass tone down to its most diluted color. Our yellow, for example, can go from a light, pale, lemony yellow when diluted up to a rich, warm, earthy, near orange color in its mass tone. This allows us to take full advantage of a range of colors in a single tube for mixing, allowing us to not only use the lemon yellow that we can get, but also the warm orange in our mixes. Once combined with the other colors, it has extraordinary mixing capabilities that are only multiplied once we add it with other dynamic colors. This becomes very important when painting earth tones. This can seem like an almost out-of-reach range of colors when you think about the colors that we have chosen, but remember that colors can always be muted by mixing, but muted colors cannot be mixed to be brighter. We are taking our bright, vibrant colors and combining them into being a range of earth tones. This is why having transparent colors is important too. We want to mix clean colors and not be held back by the depth or color range that we can achieve. In a trio palette, the biggest obstacle is choosing a yellow. Yellows are known for being very opaque, and it's just a common characteristic of the pigments used. However, when picking an opaque yellow, you will soon come to notice its muddy mixes. This can affect any color, but when you are trying to create earth tones and skin tones, it can have a very negative effect. Opaque yellows make the darker range of earth tones nearly impossible to mix, and we couldn't achieve the black easily or at all depending on the pigment used. I will focus on what happens when you choose an opaque yellow later on in this series and the specific effects on earth tones or skin tones. For this painting, having a clear yellow is imperative, as you can see it affects the entire piece. The dark values we needed to achieve in the wooden plate could not be achieved with an opaque yellow. We also needed to be able to mix a sepia and a black color for shadows, wood grain, and other small details. With how little most of us would use black in our paintings, most try to avoid purchasing it unless included in a set. Also, many artists, once they start painting, prefer to mix their own shadow colors and blacks with colors included in their paintings. Learning how to mix these colors is not only good for your wallet or for saving space in your palette or studio, but is also good knowledge to have to become more skilled in color mixing, color theory, and overall experience in your painting practice. Working with three colors creates a harmony in your paintings while also allowing you the freedom to adjust the shadows and other darker values needed to best work with your subject. Also, as we are working on this painting, much of it is done in glazing. Glazing is really special in watercolor and a technique used by almost all watercolor artists in some way. To put it simply, glazing is layering your paint. This could be to change the color of an area you were working on. Perhaps the first color needed to be darker or a slightly different hue or value. It's also a great way to add harmonious shadows into your paintings. It's also used for adding detail. As you would add more and more glazes to your work, the details would become more refined. In this painting, you can clearly see the glazes that are being added to the plate to show shadows and wood grain. It's also used to add the texture to the dumplings, making it appear more realistic and dimensional. In this case, if you had an opaque color, the glazing may not have the effect you were looking for, especially in the event that you are darkening the color, adding depth, or shadows. An opaque color in a painting like this would create a profoundly different outcome, or at least have a significant change on the way that we would approach this painting. In the next Perfect Trio Masterclass, we will be doing another well-balanced Perfect Trio painting, where we will work more with the color and color mixing to create an illustration. If you have enjoyed this video or find value in this free masterclass series, I would appreciate it if you would give it a like, leave a comment, or share this with someone who might find it helpful. If you are interested and financially able to do so, I would love it if you would check out my Patreon page, linked in the description box down below, to support this channel. This would allow me to continue to create free videos and masterclasses here on YouTube, as well as more in-depth classes, tutorials, and resources on Patreon. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and you are all having a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!